So hi Rob, thanks for joining us. I just thought I'd start off by asking you a bit of background on your career in procurement to date and how you became involved in procurement.
Hi Jen, pleasure to be on the podcast. I did not fall into procurement. I chose procurement as a profession. My undergrad had a third year in industry, and I had to choose an organisation that I could work with, and I chose Volvo Truck and Bus at the time, and that was in their supply chain function. So that was my first exposure to procurement and supply chain.
Mm-hmm. Right, and just a bit of background, what was your journey been like through CIPS and also your experience with CIPS in general and how you've used the networking system?
Great. I commenced studying for CIPS within a year of completing my undergrad degree, and that was deliberate. I was in the UK at the time, working in the manufacturing sector, and it was highly recognised by employers as a minimum standard. Mm-hmm. Most job adverts required CIPS or to be studying towards CIPS, so it wasn't just a differentiator, it was almost a ticket to the game if you wanted to progress in a procurement function. Mm-hmm. So in terms of, I've had a 20-year connection with CIPS, with the Chartered Institute. It's certainly been hugely beneficial for me in my career across a number of fronts, from networking to being part of a global fraternity to having a globally recognised qualification of degree standard.
Mm-hmm. And prior to taking on procurement roles, did you have any formal procurement training, or is this something you've developed along the way?
Look, it's a great question. Certainly a mixture of on-the-job training and getting thrown in at the deep end, which I'm sure everybody can relate to, but also having that technical or academic kind of qualification, minimum standards that you could refer back to that were relevant for your profession, I think is really important. Obviously, the more experience you get, the more confidence you have, the more you improve other elements of your toolkit. But definitely for me, I started without any academic understanding of procurement. It was really on-the-job training, really building relationships, building experience, and then supplementing that with a really high quality qualification like CIPS.
And as a leader of a procurement function, what would you say appears to be arising as a number of key areas of skills and attributes that are needed in today's procurement professional?
Yeah, look, that's a very good question, and the answer's somewhat consistent with what was needed, certainly 10, 15, 20 years ago. We still have similar challenges around value creation, but I also think the role of procurement has got bigger and broader and deeper. So for me, I've always been an advocate, and where I've been in a position to help other procurement practitioners develop not just their practical experience, but their educational, vocational experience. That's been important for me to invest in individuals. I think it's still a mixture of commercial skills, relational skills. I think digital acumen is a big component now. Obviously environmental, social governance awareness of where the headwinds are and where the value can be created in that space. And obviously having a local understanding of your market, but also having an eye on the global position. They're all things that I would look at. And obviously risk is a growing area of expertise. It's one of the fastest growing professions in Australia, and procurement is expected to be at the forefront of that as well.
And can you just share a bit about some of your observations around the CIPS qualifications and what they mean to you in both individually and recruiting and looking at people coming into the profession as well and starting out?
Yeah, a good question. In terms of if I was to see somebody with CIPS on their resume here in Australia or in this region, in Australia and New Zealand, that for me is still a huge differentiator. It means somebody's had the drive and determination to invest in their own development professionally, and that they've got kind of resilience to get through and be able to balance what are busy jobs and study schedules these days. So for me, that's a huge thing, and it's a big indication that somebody's investing in their own development. It's also something as an employer or as a leader in an organisation when you can refer to members of your team as being qualified in their profession. We have X number of qualified MCIPS. That's a huge thing as a leader as well in terms of kudos, credibility, integrity of the profession.
Mm-hmm. And we've heard a lot about things like innovation and technology and things like agile procurement. What are your thoughts on the future of procurement?
Yeah, look, I think the role of procurement still somewhere can be transitional between tactical and operational and truly strategic and innovation driven. But I think more and more procurement's expected to add value to the strategic imperatives of your organisation. Wherever you work for, you're expected to be able to contribute to the top line, the bottom line. You're expected to be a good corporate citizen. You're expected to incubate innovation, be a conduit to the market, know how to partner effectively, internally and externally. Obviously, the digital aspect of what we're doing is progressing rapidly. Going forward, no doubt some of the advisory that we provide to our internal stakeholders will be completed by artificial intelligence or robo-advisory. So as a procurement profession, we need to continue to evolve. We need to continue to understand what the market has to offer. We need to be outside-in thinking. We need to be collaborative, imaginative, creative, and fully integrated with our business partners.
Mm-hmm. And you'll be joining us as a tutor for our Academy Global CIPS Study Centre. What are some of the opportunities and potential you can see for students wanting to take on study with Academy Global?
Well, firstly, I think it's a great move by CIPS Australasia to be progressive in partnering with Academy Global as another study partner. I think that's a great move because Academy Global have a long proven track record in delivering commercial procurement contracting training to a number of public and private sector organisations. So big kudos to CIPS Australasia. I think obviously there's a strong breadth and depth of experience within the Academy Global leadership team and within the delivery capabilities. So I've been very impressed and being really happy to be part of that partnering approach. So I think they'll leverage all of the strengths that they've already developed before entering into this partnership and really be able to bring that to the fore. If I was a student, understanding that I had a local study centre and a cohort that I could study with as opposed to doing that on my own, I think that just adds so much value. You've got a network of people that you can connect with, not only who are studying with you, but the tutors and the people who are responsible for administering the course. That's invaluable.
And just as a final kind of comment, is there any advice you'd give to somebody who is either looking to start out their CIPS qualifications study or if they've just decided they want a career in procurement?
I'd say it's a great career move for anyone. It's really it's almost like being a polymath. You can become a proficient generalist in many areas of interest, and you can become an expert if you want to be, or a deep expert in some of those. I think the commercial, relational, the network skills that you'll develop will stand you in good stead throughout your whole career, no matter where that career takes you. And I also feel that if I was looking at embarking on a study route, then MCIPS and the different levels of qualification you can now take. It's the routes of study are a lot more varied than what they used to be. I think CIPS have really done a great job in modernising the qualification and how that qualification is delivered. So it's never been easier to participate. But also the ROI is not only immediate, it's sustainable throughout your career, and it's absolutely a no-brainer.